Hey everyone, welcome back to Devrai Technologies. So, we are in AI Agent series, and today we are going to get started with Azure AI Foundry SDK. We'll explore both the programming languages, that is C Sharp as well as Python, for connecting to Azure AI Foundry SDK. And Azure AI Foundry SDK is a set of libraries that connect to various other Azure AI services. In this case, it is going to connect to Azure OpenAI, Azure AI Inference, Azure AI Search, and many more. Okay, so let's get started. In our last video, we created a new project and a new hub in Azure AI Foundry. I'll go to ai.azure.com. This was the last project that we created, PRJ JDBots. And here you can see the project connection string. Before getting started, I'll go to the VS Code. Let's create a new environment. First, we'll start with Python and then we can move on to the C Sharp code. Okay, so I'm going to create a new folder instead. Python and C Sharp. Perfect. Next, for Python, let me reveal in File Explorer. Open in terminal and let's open the VS Code in that. Okay, so I have opened the VS Code in my Python folder. Perfect. Now, first thing first, let's create a new environment. So I'll go to View, Command Palette, and create a new environment, VENV. I'll choose the latest version, that is 3.13.2. And here you can see it is getting created, the new environment. So the following environment is selected, and here you can see .venv is also created. This here you can see this folder is also created, my environment folder. And if you open up a new terminal, you'll see this .venv here on the path. So that confirms that your environment is created as well as it is also activated. Okay, now we are going to install few packages here, and we'll be following this documentation, getting started with Azure AI Foundry SDK. First thing first, we're going to log into Azure CLI. And if you do not have Azure CLI, what you can do, you can download it for your machine. If you're using Mac, Windows, or Linux, you can install based on your operating system. Okay, either Windows, Linux, or Mac. You can install Azure CLI. Once you have installed Azure CLI, what you need to do, you need to come to the terminal, or you can also go to the terminal on your Mac or on your Windows. At all the places this Azure CLI will be accessible. So you just need to do a Z login. This is a command to log in to your Azure subscription. If you have multiple of them, it will ask you which subscription you want to connect to. Okay, so I'll just say enter. It will open a web browser. It will ask me to log in, and you have logged into Microsoft Azure. If you go back to your terminal, it will retrieve the list of your tenants and subscription that you have access to. For some of the tenants, it might not be able to log in. If you want to log in to a specific tenant, then you need to provide some extra flags to this command. You can ask Copilot if you want to log into your specific tenant as well as specific subscription. Okay, so here it is giving me the list of subscription that I can choose from. Currently it is selected as a third subscription, but you can enter the number you want to choose. Okay, just verify that the project that you created in Azure AI Foundry is part of what subscription. You can see on the overview page. So I'm going to select one. Okay, there we have our subscription selected. You can also verify what account you're already logged into. Just type AZ account show. This will tell you that currently you are on this subscription, and this is the account that you're logged in, and this is the tenant that you are currently logged into. Okay, now let's clear this out. Next, we need to install these two packages, Azure AI Project and Azure Identity. This is the package that will be used for Azure AI Foundry SDK, and Azure Identity will be used to log into your Azure account from your code. Basically, it will be used to authenticate with all the client libraries with your Entra ID account. Okay, it has been installed. You can verify by going to your environment folder, and here you can see Azure Identity is added and Azure AI project is added, and what version also you can see it here. Okay, once that is done, let's create a new file. So here in the documentation, they have mentioned both the ways, synchronous and asynchronous code. If you're developing as an API, I would recommend you to go with asynchronous. They also have all the samples in both synchronous and asynchronous programming. Okay. So for this demo, we are going to use synchronous, but when we create an API out of this, then we are going to go with asynchronous. Okay. Now let's import this package. First, let's create a new file. Okay. So I'm gonna name this file as main.py. Okay. From Azure.identity, import default Azure credentials. If you use default Azure credential, then it can either pick up your CLI credential or logged in VS Code credentials. If you're working on Visual Studio, then it can pick up your CLI, your logged in, or even your Azure Service Authentication. It depends. I think one of the documentation they have mentioned the priority that it goes if it finds such suitable credentials, then yeah, it authenticates with that. Let's suppose you want to only use Azure CLI credentials, then you can mention it Azure CLI credential. In my case, I'm going to use Azure CLI credential because I don't want to get conflict with my other services. Okay. Next. Next is we're going to import Azure AI projects from Azure Project Client. Azure AI, Azure.ai.projects from Project Client, AI Project Client. Okay. Perfect. Next, let's store the connection string. If you want to follow the best practices, I would recommend you to create .env file. Let's follow the best practices. So I'm going to create a new .env file, and here I'm going to name this my project connection string. Project connection string. Okay, it's not SQLite. Let's go to Azure AI Foundry, copy this project connection string and paste it here. All right. Next, We're going to import that. Let's ask Copilot get configs from .env file. Okay, so it is going to give me all of these. Okay, so this is how you can get the configurations. Okay, and you need to install this package fix using Copilot. So this is the package you need to install, pip install python.env. Well, I'm not a core Python developer, that's why I'm utilizing Copilot for my development. So the best part about Copilot now is it can also put those commands directly in your terminal, and then you just need to enter. Okay, and now this error will be gone, and here I'm gonna use this variable project connection string os.getEnv. Okay, let's verify if we are getting the connection string or not. So I'm gonna use print. Let's run this project. If you have set Python as a default for Python 3, then you can just use Python, but in my machine I have not set it as Python as an alias. So I'm gonna use Python 3, and I'm going to give a name of my Python file and enter. So here you can see project connection string, and it is in printing out my connection string. Perfect. So now we know that it is getting the connection string from my .env file. Perfect. Now we can get rid of this. Next we are going to create this project client, and AI project client dot from connection string and project connection string, and we need to provide credentials as well, that is Azure CLI credential. Perfect. That is all. Now we can go on and do all the stuff that we want, either connect to Azure OpenAI, Azure AI inference, Azure AI search. We can do all those stuff now. Okay, let me put a comment over here. Create a client using, that's fine. The new feature of Copilot, GitHub Copilot in VS Code allows you to autocomplete. Previously, it was there, but it was not that efficient. In Visual Studio, it was very efficient, but now in VS Code as well, it is highly efficient. Like you start typing something, and it is going to autocomplete it for you. Okay, either comments, either code, everything. And if you want to enable that this one autocomplete, not autocomplete, let me show you that option. Extend, let me show you that extension. I think the name was IntelliCode. Yeah, this one. This is a very powerful extension that allows you to see all the methods that are part of any libraries. Okay, previously it was completely random. If you just click dot, then it would give us the methods from different libraries as well, like as a tone. But now it is going to give you only from that particular library. You know, you must have noticed that if I have typed right Azure dot, it has only given me IntelliSense for AI only. So that's the power. Okay, now we are going to connect to Azure OpenAI service. Okay, let me install this package first. And let's create that OpenAI object, project dot inference get Azure OpenAI. There you can see. If I put dot, right, so it is going to give me all the methods that are applicable. And I need to pass the API version. Let's see. Let's use the same version that it is giving us. I'm going really step by step. I could have copied it, but I like to write code rather than copy pasting. Okay. It helps me understand things, and yeah, if I need to bug fix, then it really helps me that. So response equals to next OpenAI chat completions create OpenAI chat completion. There you see. That is the power of intelligence. Okay, and yeah, including the copilot edit completions. Okay. Uh, well, it's not deployment ID, it's model. And let's use GPT-4o. That's a good model. That's the latest model we have. Well, we have O1, O3 as well. But yeah, as compared to pricing and speed as well as good results, GPT-4o is a good option. Then we have messages. The first is role system. Let's add the system. Let me add one more object here. Role system. You're a helpful assistant. And I'm gonna give a question. That's fine. That's a good question. If you want to add temperature max tokens, you can. I'll keep it as is. Let me see what all options we have. Do we have a temperature? Yes, we do have a temperature. We can pass that. Do we have max tokens? Yes. And do we have top P? That also we have. Perfect. So we have all the parameters that are applicable for OpenAI. Okay. After that, we can print the response. Response.choices, messages, content. Perfect. Let's print and run this application. Python 3 main.py. So why it's taking time? Because it is first authenticating it and we have an error. I know what could be the error because we haven't deployed that model yet. So create model GPT-4o. I want to see that error here. Yeah. Deployment not found. The API deployment for this resource does not exist. If you created deployment within last 5 minutes, please wait a moment. So yeah, I knew it. This was the error was coming up, but I want to show you the error as well and how you can fix those errors. Okay, I'll go to Azure AI Foundry. I'll go to deployments. Where is my deployments? Model catalog. And I'm going to use GPT-4o. Deploy. Okay, you can choose the deployment type. Well, data zone standard, I think it's the faster as compared to global standard. Let's use that data zone standard, or maybe yeah, best to use global standard just in case. Okay, and I'll use the connected AI resource. You can configure this tokens per minute limit, everything, model version. Let me see. 2011 2024. And what is the version that we use here? 1.6. Let's see if it's going to work. I'm not sure what version is that for this one. Is it a model version or is it what version? I'm not sure yet. Parameters API version. Anyway, let's see if we end up with another error, we can find it out. Okay, not found error, connection default, Azure OpenAI can't be found in this workspace. That's fine. Let's see. Let's run this again. Okay, the capital of France is Paris. So it is now giving us the response. Perfect. So we are successfully connected Azure AI Foundry SDK to our Azure OpenAI. And you can also create embeddings, create images, audio. So here you can see the documentation here. You can connect to models such as 4o, Mini, GPT-4, Turbo, DALI, Whisper, embeddings, all those capabilities, you can do it. All right. So now, coming to Azure AI model inference, this is another way of calling ChatGPT. This was using one way, only specific to Azure OpenAI. But in Azure AI Inference, it can connect to any of your open source models which you might have deployed, such as the models from OpenAI, Microsoft, Meta, and many more. Even Mistral 5 models from Microsoft, or even Deepseek models. So all those models you can connect to using this particular library, that is Azure AI Inference. Let's install this. In .NET, it's still in preview. I'm not sure about Python. Let's install this package. Okay. Yeah, here also it's still in beta, I guess. I think this is the naming convention that they might have used on the version B9. I'm pretty sure it might be on the beta. Okay. Now, let's use this inferencing. I can change this OpenAI object. Okay. This was for Azure OpenAI. Azure AI inference. Okay. And chat inference. I'm using the naming convention from my .NET. So let me make use of Python naming conventions. That is, I can use underscores. Well, the name I used earlier, even that will work fine. But yeah, I would prefer to use the language specific naming conventions. Okay, chat project dot what we have inference get chat completion client, get chat completions client. Here we don't have any model. Next we have, I'm gonna change this response OpenAI. Response inference. Next chat dot complete. Chat underscore inference dot complete. Next is model. So it is using the GPT-4o model only. If you want to use other models, you can use. Okay, then I'm going to try this something. Here, what is the capital of India? Okay, let me try with Azure OpenAI model. Well, you can connect to Azure OpenAI as well. I'll show you the different models as well. Let's run this first. The capital of France is Paris. The capital of India is New Delhi. Perfect. So it is giving us a response. Now, I'm going to deploy some more models here. Not specifically the Azure OpenAI model, but we're going to use Deepseek model this time. So I'll go to model catalog and let's use Deepseek v3, deploy. If you're worried about the pricing, right? So I would suggest you go to this link, see the pricing details, and before trying this model out. They have specifically mentioned the pricing per tokens, per million tokens, I guess. So you can go through that pricing. Okay, so let's deploy this. And the deployment name is this one, Deepseek v3. And let's change this here. Okay, and let's ask again. There it is. The capital of India is New Delhi. It is located in the northern part of the country and serves as the administrative, political, and cultural center of India. Well, it has given us some extra content as well. That's good. DeepSeek is very good, I guess. If you're also looking for a faster model, you can also go with Phi from Microsoft. Let me show you that as well. Or I think NVIDIA NIM. Well, I was going through these models yesterday, but I was not able to deploy them. Let me try LLaMA 3B, 8B instruct. Yeah, this one. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is the instruct model. I'm looking for chat model. Anyway, that's fine. Yeah, let's try 5.4. Not mini instruct. I just need 5.4. Multimodal, this one. Okay, let's try this. Okay, let's copy the deployment name, paste it here. I'm just showing you what all capabilities it has, like you can connect to any model you want using Azure AI Inference. Okay, let's run this again. Okay, the capital of India is New Delhi. It serves as a seat of all three branches of government of India, including the executive, legislative, and judiciary. The New Delhi is located within the capital center, National Capital Territory of Delhi. Perfect. It is giving some extra answer as well, greater than our DeepSeek model. Okay, so this is good. We have successfully connected to DeepSeek models, Azure OpenAI models, Phi model from Microsoft. Let's also connect to one more famous model, that is Meta. So from Meta, what's the famous one? I think LLaMA is the famous one, but I cannot see it here. Let me search it. LLaMA. Vision instruct. Let's use this one. Let's use some instruct model as well. Agree and proceed. It's really easy for you to connect to the various models uh, in our LLM industry. So let's change the model. Let's see how this is going to respond. Perfect. The capital of India is New Delhi. This is very precise and straightforward. Nothing extra. Okay. So we are good here. Now let's move on to the next one. Prompt templates. Or or maybe we can try this in our next video. That will be better. I think this video there's more than sufficient. I guess you must have understood a lot of stuff. How you can connect to various models from using Azure AI Inference, or if you only target to Azure OpenAI, then you can only use Azure OpenAI models. It's your choice. Okay. Yeah. The all the models which are part of Azure AI Foundry, apart from Azure OpenAI, they have their own pricing. So I would suggest you to go to their pricing model and use based on that. Okay. All right. So see you then. Thanks everyone. See you in the next video.